So tonight I had thought about drawing and streaming. Not feeling it now. I've discussed this before in past videos, that I go to therapy and, suffer from depression and things. And is it just me, or does it seem like the year 2020 is really, shaping up to be a really big sucker punch? So as you can see on the screen here right now, Grant Imahara, host of Mythbusters and the White Rabbit Project, dies at 49. I think the hardest part about this is that, 49... Well, okay, first of all, let me start off by saying there's a ton of things hard about this. For myself, Grant Imahara he was not only a part of Mythbusters, but he was for me, and this isn't just something riding on the whole diversity issue or anything else like that, but you look at what people that, and I'm trying to choose my words here carefully. Growing up, for somebody like me, I usually struggled to find anyone that I could usually look up to in a positive light on television, that was not portrayed in a stereotypical way. You would find them on things like Chico and the Man. You would find them in different ways. And I remember that one of my first influences that I really appreciated growing up was Eric Estrada on the old television show Chips, as he was portraying, highway patrolman in California. Now, the reason I'm telling you that story is because Grant Imahara was on a cast of predominantly white people on Mythbusters. The lone guy that was, another racial denomination. My words are failing me right now. And as much as I love Adam and especially Jamie and the rest of the crew, Grant stood out for me because even though we're not the same ethnic background, I could see a part of myself in him. And this is just my own personal take on this. I know that there's many people out there that he's influenced because of Grant's wonderful demeanor on there. He always seemed like he was the most reserved, the most quiet. I'm saying this behind Jamie, who was far more ostensibly stern and direct. Grant really came off as the genuine heart, even though he was part of the B-Build team on Mythbusters. This hits me hard because, every time I see somebody, and he's not that much older than me, every time I see somebody pass away like this, there's, it's probably a saying that predates this, but Iron Maiden has a lyric that says, "Only the good die young, all the evil seems to live forever." And I don't wish death on anyone. Nobody should. But it seems like a damn shame when somebody is skilled, and from everything I'm seeing, let's just check out Adam Savage's Twitter here real quick. Adam Savage is saying, Adam Savage, let me get my diction right for this evening. I'm at a loss. No words. I've been part of a big two families with Grant Imahara over the last 22 years. Grant was truly a brilliant engineer, artist, and performer, but also just such a generous, easygoing, and gentle person. Working with Grant was so much fun. I'll miss my friend. Turns into kind of a little bit of a who's who when you start scrolling down. but it's also a lot of people that may not have that little check mark next to their name. First one up that I see on here, Steve Bloom. Now, some of you may not know who he is, and for me, this is another one of my personal idols in voiceover. An amazing actor. If you ever watched the anime Cowboy Bebop, he's the voice of Spike Spiegel and the voice of many other characters. And I had the opportunity to actually meet him. That's this image right back here on top. That's me and Steve here in Kansas City. Amazing guy and just wonderful. But, you know, as it says here, he's saying, ugh, heartbroken. I didn't know him well, but what I did know was that he was a peaceful, brilliant, sweet man. He remembered my name after meeting him once. I'm so sorry. And LeVar Burton, gutted by this news. 2020 is working overtime to keep its streak alive in the suckiest year in memory. Sweepstakes. I don't really know. I didn't think I was going to wake up today and see him trending in what's happening. 1 hour ago. I mean, it definitely puts a moment in my head where I start to think about even what I'm doing career-wise. You know, where I am personally right now. I've spoken about this a lot of other times, dealing with, you know, things that, you know, how we make our decisions on what we want to do in life and how we progress. And I've had endless discussions with good friends of mine over things like idea debt and someday I'll get to this. But at some point, the truth is you never really know when your time's going to come and you're going to, you know, cash that proverbial check. Sometimes it leads to a lot of anxiety for me late at night, and I end up staying up late. And I recently discovered, I'm going to get it wrong, but there's a saying in Chinese about basically, like, I think the term is revenge in the night or revenge toward the night. But I'd never heard of it before. I don't believe there's a westernized version of the actual phrasing. But essentially what it means is people like me that'll stay up burning the midnight oil. And I do that normally whenever I get off work from working at the Nelson. And, you know, because I get off work at 2 a.m. most evenings and I'm home back by 3. But the really hard part about this is that I start to look at where I've been, what I've done, and what else I could do, because there are times whenever I feel like that we all try and get through life the best that we possibly can. I genuinely believe that. Thankfully I've never really met anyone that feels that, you know, I only pause in that now because I do know people that have gone through some really hard times. And so pardon me if I get caught up on this. I'm trying to keep my mind straight on this, but this is all very surreal. And considering I never met this man, you know, Grant was definitely one that I had wished I'd met and I never got a chance to. You know, I simply said in response, Mr. Amahara, I never got to meet you. Your work ethic, knowledge, gentle demeanor, enviable career, and accomplishments were outstanding. 49 is way too soon. You were and will remain a huge inspiration to me and others. Thank you, and rest in peace. You know, it's weird. Over the last few years, you know, people that are famous, people that are close, have passed on in my life. There's a lot of them, you know, that make impacts on us. This is probably the second famous person that it's really beginning to dawn on me that he's gone and what sort of impact. It's the effect of you don't know what you got till it's gone. Most certainly, and I've spoken about this many times before, Steve Irwin was the one that when I saw it, I was in disbelief. And, you know, I I flat out started crying at my computer. I couldn't believe the headline I was reading. And I was commenting back to a friend of mine's post earlier that I think because of everything that's been happening in 2020, I'm sort of numb right now, which is a terrible place to be, right? At least I think it is. I mean, maybe that's some sort of self-defense mechanism we have, where you're inundated with so much that just, it's like cascading waves eroding away at the shores of your sanity. Pretty soon you run out of sand, starts to get up to other areas, and you're like an island slowly being overwhelmed by a tsunami. Or just even normal waves ebbing at you. Those are the worst, right? A tsunami, it's a kind of all and over with at once. But it's the consistent waves of things that just get to you. I imagine this will probably hit me pretty hard in a few days. You see, there's more to it than just what I've said. I used to really look at him on the show, Mr. Amahara, that is, and say, your work ethic was so incredible because he would rise to every challenge. Now, that was true of every Mythbusters member. That's certainly not to relinquish any respect I had for any of the others. Not at all. But Grant, because of his background, having worked in Star Wars and all these other things, and having done so many amazing things, I think he was actually one of the few people that were authorized to actually operate R2-D2 on set. And his knowledge of robotics was insane. It got me invested in trying to learn more about robotics. That's actually how I got my little vector bot that you see sometimes in some of the videos. And it got me interested in trying to learn Python, programming, things like that. He was also responsible. He did a video, and I'm trying to remember what channel it was on. That I've lost count of all the YouTube channels I watch on a daily basis. But I was terrified of 3D printing. I know, it sounds stupid, right? I didn't know anything about it. I knew very few people that did anything with it. And at Hallmark, we had the Leap Lab, which I have this little... I mean, the Leap Lab is pretty much gone now, but I have this little keychain thing. It's laser etched from Leap Lab. Kind of dorky, but, let's be honest, I don't really know when I'm ever going to head back to Hallmark into the building. So, and I don't know if the Leap Lab will be there the next time I'm there. Just being honest. Sorry, corporate. At any rate, so they have MakerBots in there. And I know some of my friends who are really big into 3D printing are definitely going to knock that. But Grant introducing me into the world of 3D printing through being a guest on a particular YouTube channel. He was on there for this one thing detailing like the advancement of 3D printing and what it meant for the future. I had started working on this little robot here. This is TopsyBot 5000. He is a character from the oh-so-excellent Robot Co-op, and prior to that, Incognito Cinema Warriors XP, my buddy Rick Wolf's show. And so I decided I was going to try and make small figurines and get into this, because I'd always been interested in making miniatures and toys and that sort of stuff on my own. And I really have Mr. Amahara to thank for giving me the wherewithal and the mental fortitude just from having watched him, say, do it. Just go out there and do this sort of thing. Because if you wait until somebody comes along and teaches you, if you wait until the right moment comes along, it's not going to. It's simply not. And so, yeah, it's definitely starting to hit me. It's such a damn messed up thing, isn't it? I guess the reason I'm making this video is because I kind of want to hold on for a little bit and not really believe that he's gone. And I know there's going to be people out there saying, well, people die every day. Yeah, I get it. Doesn't mean we can't be sorry about somebody who represented pretty darn decent stuff and was a beacon of really good things. Knowledge, intelligence, invention, all of these things. And for somebody like me, I looked up to him in so many ways. His his career, his resume was stunning. It is stunning. And, maybe in a few years, popular media will, kind of tuck him away into a zone where he's not as well remembered. But just like another fellow that I looked up to, Joe Ranft, who was probably the heart of Pixar, an amazing storyteller who passed away tragically in a car accident. Their footfalls, their footprints, their influences and inspirations will be felt for decades. It really sucks, Mr. Imahara. It really sucks. I'm so sorry. I apologize to you guys if this didn't turn out to be the art video you were thinking it was going to be. It just turned out to be more of a vlogging thing for me to get this out and get this down. It's just really surreal. But I can say this much. Were you a fan of the Mythbusters? If you were, and you want to tell a story about it, or you want to have a comment about it, leave it down below. Probably the least we can do to remember what Grant and the Mythbusters did for us. For me, I think I watched every single episode at least twice. And they made me feel like nothing was out of reach for me. That if I really, really wanted to learn, the knowledge was there to be discovered. And especially in today's world, we don't have enough of that. We're seeing that with a lot of current things happening, where science is being set to the side, and opinion and personal preference are sort of laminating over them with this opaque film where you can still see elements of it, but it's suffocating it. And I really wonder what got us here. I really wonder why we are this way. I say we as a generalization. I know I'm too tired to argue platitudes and, definitions of what, why, when, how, or anything like that. And that's probably one of the reasons why, like I said earlier, this hasn't really hit me that hard yet. I know that the biggest thing for me, like, out of all of this was, he was definitely one of the people that I had hoped would come here to Kansas City at some point in time. I'd get a chance to meet. I wasn't able to go to Planet whenever Adam Savage was supposed to be here. And, there are people in life that I've always just wanted to get a chance to meet, shake their hand, and say thank you sincerely for that. And it's sad that this is the only way I'm going to be able to really do this. I mean, he's not even been gone 2 hours now, according to Twitter. And I can't imagine what his friends and family are going through. I really can't. But the main reason I made this video was because I know sometimes that, and I'm only going to speak to my own experiences, and maybe this will help some of you out there. You may get a lot, like myself, of people that don't believe in what you want to do. You might hear naysayers. You may feel that there's these unattainable goals or these obstacles that are right there in your path. That can seem so overwhelming. But the truth of the matter is, you yourself have the capacity in you to do whatever the hell you want. You should believe in yourself that you have incredible capacity, incredible intelligence, and that you can find it in yourself to get that drive to get to these goals. But you also have to be smart enough. You have to think like a mythbuster. You have to think like an intelligent person. What is important and what is holding you back? And I've spent probably the last 6 months of my life recently going down those paths for myself. It hasn't been easy. In fact, there's been a couple times I wandered down a path that was easier only to fall backwards a few steps, or I dragged myself down the right path kicking and screaming. Every day I wake up with a lot of self-doubt. And it's probably one of the reasons why I have insomnia and why I don't like going to sleep. And why I stay up so late at night and read news, get on Twitter, do different things like that. But in the end, ultimately, a lot of it stems from the fact that I mentioned idea debt earlier. I have all these things I'd like to do, but the truth is there's only so much I can get to. And a lot of it I can't do by myself. And I think that when I see something like this, no, in fact, I know when I see something like this, I just end up wondering to myself, well, what's going to happen? You know, all this incomplete work I have, all these aspirations and dreams and places that I either want to go to, that I want to accomplish, that I want to say I've seen, done, heard, all of these things, you know? Is there a ticking time bomb in me? And that sounds a little macabre. I don't mean it to. I'm simply saying that you shouldn't run straight ahead without a care in the world. But if you ever have those moments in your life where you're so scared to lose a job, if you ever have those moments in life where you're terrified to take that opportunity to make a decision that could change your life for the better, maybe you're more fearful of the change itself than what the reciprocal outcome will be. I know that's certainly the case with me. There were a lot of times, and I had to be really honest with myself on that. I'm super comfortable when it comes to something I can edit and record and do that sort of thing. Going live terrifies me a little bit. I'm not going to joke. And it definitely puts me in a really weird headspace where I don't want to, you know, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. And the truth is, it just comes down to the fact that, you know, that big old ugly head of failure rears itself up. Yeah, that's okay. And I've started to understand that, you know. So, I don't know. This isn't really the kind of thing that you can find something positive out of, because there really isn't anything great about this. But I hope for any of you that were fans of his, the best thing we can do is maybe just take a simple lesson from this. We don't really know how much time we have. We could live to be old, and we could not. And I know that every single day that I have, I try and look at it and celebrate it and work as hard as I can in it to make it count. Because you just never know. So, again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my quick little video about him. And I'd love to hear any memories you have about him. If you feel like sharing them down below in the comments, fantastic. I was going to say you could go check out his website, but it looks like the server has already gone down. I'm pretty sure it's crashed because of this. That was the case about an hour ago. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, you all have a good night. Thanks for watching. And to the people that have subscribed, and again, that sent messages this last time and everything else like that, thank you so much. And I'll be back with another video at some point in time, maybe tomorrow night, not sure yet. I've got some freelance, thankfully, coming in, and some projects that I'm still finishing up. Some of it I can't show yet, and that are really turning out pretty cool. And I'm ever eternally grateful for that. But the one thing I can say is this: when I see stuff like this happen, it does make me think about a lot of what I'm doing in life. Maybe that's why this sort of stuff happens. There really isn't a silver lining, but it does showcase something about ourselves when there's a loss and what we're doing with our lives. Until next time, guys, thanks again and take care.